Hi, everyone. Welcome to YLC Chats. I'm a first year YLC member, Kelly Cotter, and I'm joined with a YLC alumni, Ryan Hoffman. Ryan, do you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
My name is Ryan Hoffman. I am in Cleveland, Ohio, originally from Boynton Beach, Florida, in South Florida. I've been in Best Buddies for over a decade, since 2010 in Florida, when I was in the post-secondary college program after I graduated from high school 12 years ago in 2009.
Great. So what Best Buddies program or programs are you in?
In citizens program, and I'm also the state ambassador from Best Buddies Florida to Best Buddies Ohio, and I have took on many Best Buddies programs in like the YLC from 2019 to 2021 counselor, and now alumni member.
Yeah. So what is your favorite thing about Best Buddies?
There are so many favorite things about Best Buddies. If I can pick one out of many, it would be giving speeches at speaking engagements as a state ambassador, because the last speaking engagement I gave a speech to was at the Meat Lovers event for Best Buddies Palm Beach Champion of the Year mini kickoff with a silent auction event in Boynton Beach, Florida, back in the summer this year, where people at the event came not just for the food, but to hear me speak about myself and Best Buddies are together. It was once of a lifetime opportunity to give a speech as a state ambassador. I would like to talk about myself a bit. While I lived in Florida way before I joined it, best organizations like Best Buddies and Special Olympics, it was very challenging, but also a teachable lesson down the road for me. I was diagnosed for intellectual disability with autism and speech impairment at the age of 3 back in the early and almost mid 1990s. It was tough of knowing of them. I had diagnosis with labors because nobody, including the doctors, didn't know the diagnosis. They made up things on what caused my diagnosis. Also, they told my folks I would never walk and talk and only speak 2 to 3 vocabularies, never going to make friends. My folks told them I would do those things, and look where I am today, speaking to y'all today on YLC Chats.
I love that. So you kind of touched into this, but how do you feel Best Buddies has made you a better advocate for yourself and others?
Being an advocate is making sure what you are advocating for by finding the why, how, at the same time. Advocating to the community, it's not something it gets done overnight, where the process doesn't get rushed through, but works in overtime on a day-to-day basis. You have a call for action and setting goals to get the ball rolling and done by trusting the time process and making sure you're doing your homework time after time and being appropriate, professional about it without going too far. These actions can be done in virtual meeting, social media, etc. Having goals and plans can go a long way on being an advocate.
And what does being an advocate mean to you?
If you want to get things done, but setting the goals and setting things where you want to accomplish, where it's making sure that everybody has a seat on the table on how we can make inclusion work around the communities, and so and also I do want to see changes in the board. I want to see more changes for our abilities, like taking the word out disability, because the word disability is an understatement where people like me know we have an intellectual disability. Just because we may have disabilities doesn't mean individuals can't do this and do that, like working at a job or living on their own. They want to do those things, but they may need help and needed support to help them to reach their goals and potentials with job training, communication skills, and work readiness tools. This month of October is National Disability and Employment Awareness Month, which I took part on a virtual training on National Disability Employment Awareness Month with Best Buddies Florida a few nights ago, where it focused on people with all abilities to have the same opportunities as working at any job that is suited for them with decent gracious, making sure companies are improving their work cultures around their businesses without having the fear on how it is going to affect their businesses with money rise, anything without secretly discriminating them out, but giving them a chance to work and have the same opportunities by giving them the same opportunities to work at any business. It's not just doing it out of act of kindness or giving back to the community, but it's also essential for these businesses to give people with all abilities to work and being independent with living on their own and having a job.
Yeah. So what inspired you to advocate for these causes and especially disability employment?
Me come from a background of when I was when I was diagnosed with autism and speech impairment, and knowing that that people that told my folks I wasn't going to do this, I was going to do that, where that I knew that I had to step up to the plate and be an advocate to the community, that you cannot judge a book by its cover, and by not telling individuals to their family members that they can't do this and can't do that, and being an advocate that to advocate not just for me but to others. Way back in the school days, where there wasn't a Best Buddies organization at local schools, I was bullied in high school, and people called me mean names and being taken advantage by other people based upon my intellectual disability, either who had known me or not, during school and way after I graduated from high school and post-secondary and college. At those times, I knew that I couldn't let those things get in the way of me, and I had to fought off those moments by not taking shortcuts in life, but overcoming those adversities in overtime and learn by them each day.
What are some change you would like to see in the country, regardless the areas that you advocate for?
I want to see changes where the words this being taken out of disability and replace it in all abilities, and I want to see the community come together to embrace people with our abilities, because everybody has something to teach others, not only to themselves but to other people, and individuals that wants to achieve and go through and having the same opportunities like everyone else, because especially when they get like high school or post-secondary college, they want to have opportunities like working at a job or living on their own, but unfortunately they don't have those opportunities, because 80% of people with IDD or all abilities don't have paying jobs, and what I heard from a statistic, that once a person gets old, like in their mid-20s to 30s or older, they have more of a tough time to find a job, going into a life, and that's what we need to end that stigma.
So final question, what can people watching this video do to help support you and what you talked about today?
Listen and do your part and take notes. Take notes while you're watching the YLC Chats video, because it can be a very helpful to you and everyone around your communities, to spread inclusion, to have equity in the community, because everybody is equal to, no matter who they are, and being the bigger and better person, by creating your own words on to spread inclusion, because today's words, changing the whole word can be daunting or overwhelming to some, but at the same time, you have to change your own words, your own thinking on what you want to accomplish or advocate, because by changing our own words, we can change the whole word too. But it takes time after time, and being patient about it, by having conversations, having appropriate conversations, that won't get like overwhelming. It won't get like something where that someone is going to end the conversation right off the bat. It's learning how to have right to conversations about spreading inclusion around the community, getting businesses on board to support non-profit or organizations like Special Olympics and best buddies too, because I've learned it throughout the years as Best Buddies, where Best Buddies is an awesome organization for people and gives them with all abilities a voice that they never did before they joined the Best Buddies. Without Anthony Caney Shriver founded Best Buddies in 1989, and his mom Eunice Caney Shriver founded Special Olympics back in the late 70s to mid 80s. Individuals with all abilities would not have the opportunities to speak about their stories, and the mission of Best Buddies are not have to compete in sports in Special Olympics today, where opportunities comes into play for individuals who take part in the organizations like Best Buddies and Special Olympics by making new friends, getting into the community engagement, by developing communication, being a great team leader, and sports to our aspects of levels. And so by watching the YLC Chats video today is keeping those organizations and the mission alive today for Asia's generations and future to come.
I love that. Well, that's the end of our interview. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching. And thank you, Ryan, for being an amazing person to interview. And we hope you have a good day.